Dave. This is the Cider Baby Pod, and today I'm speaking to AJ from Far From the Gods. Hello.
Yes, people are go on. It's AJ. How you doing?
Hey, you're looking good, man.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, man. I've been home now off tour for about a week, so I'm starting to feel a bit refreshed.
Yeah. You've just done a few European dates, haven't you?
We did. We did a month in the EU and the UK, and mainly festivals. So it differs so much from the clubs where you have a set destination. You go to a club, you play a gig, you go to the next club. Whereas the festivals, we all know there's so much more involved. There's such a bigger venue. There's a lot of walking involved. There's a lot of logistics involved. So it can be quite tiring and a bit knackering. But at the same time, we enjoyed it fully. I mean, it was incredible. It started off with 2 days in Frankfurt of pre-production, so that the anticipation was there. And we, these iconic festivals like Download, and the first 48 hours was incredible at Rock and Park and Rock and Ring consecutively back to back. I mean, the Germans really do know how to throw a festival. And they came out in droves. The stages we played, the biggest stages, the biggest crowds we'd ever played in front of. And we played in front of some massive crowds here, being on arena tours with Five Finger Death Punch and playing in massive venues with Korn in that. But there was nothing compared to the sea of bodies that we saw each day. Even Download playing inside the tent was absolutely massive.
Yeah, I couldn't get to Download. I didn't see you there. I saw you in Bristol supporting the Who a few years ago in 2019, before the world went to wherever. And I mean, it just blew me away. The amount of energy you guys have got on stage. I mean, I can only imagine what it would have been like on a bigger stage in front of such a big crowd, feeding from the crowd as well.
When we've got space, we go absolutely. It's even mad, it's even more mad. But we love the clubs. We love the clubs because that's where we started, and it's one of those things we pride ourselves on, not forgetting where we came from. And I've been doing this for a while before I joined Fire From the Gods, and you play those proverbial dog and a bartender shows where you just play to 2 people or to 5 people or to 100 people. But we fully believe in the 100, 1,000 to 10,000 rule. Whether it's 100 people in a room, 1,000 people in a room, or 10,000 people, you got to give it everything. And our music has such a powerful message that the energy, you can't help but be involved and immerse yourself in it. And the what I talk about on stage and what I talk about in the music, you can't help but feel that energy and have to show that. So it's not like Ghost where you just Papa Emeritus just sits there and tells his story, the weirdness of it all, which goes along with it. But we have this sort of punk rock vibe and this hardcore vibe that's always been about energy, the jumping up and down, the getting involved in the crowd, because it just helps the message, and the message is so important.
I was going to say, you're quite passionate about what you're singing about, what you're trying to portray as well.
Very much so.
It's just an array of different I suppose different things that affect our day-to-day lives and whatever.
Very much so.
What would you say is the most I'm struggling for the words here. What would you say is the most hard-hitting thing at the moment? Is it the war in Ukraine that's affecting you most, or is it just like human rights?
Yeah, I think it's the general state of the world, and I think you hit the nail on the head, so to speak, with human rights. Human rights has always been something that people thought went along with the way you're supposed to live. You're supposed to afford people human rights, and that's okay because the world has, as we've stated, you've had to adapt to the way people think. And we came from a world where there was one ruler, one absolute rule, and you did exactly what that did, even if it violated your naturally given human rights. So I think the world's waking up to the idea that we all deserve the same rights and the same and should be afforded the same style, and not say style of living, because then we get into the politics of it all, but we all are afforded life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that doesn't matter what country you're born in or what religion everyone deserves a chance at life. You don't have to love me. You don't even have to like me, but you do have to respect my right to exist. And if that comes along with my human rights, or what some people may say, God-given rights, whatever it may be, everyone is afforded those rights, and everyone should be allowed to live that way.
I mean, I consider the best version of yourself, shall we say, is the person you're
so.
most at ease with. So if you're gay, or if, whatever persuasion you are, you know, it's if you're happy within yourself, that's the best version. And
1000%. If you're not hurting anyone, if you're not hurting anyone or violating someone else's existence, then why shouldn't you not let the spirit dictate how you want to live and how you should live? And if we have politics to support people, and we have politics to support our ideals, those politics should take into account human rights first, and then the other things come after.
Yeah. So this is quite a huge thing to get into music itself. Do you have trouble, or do you say, oh, what do I put into this song, and what do I say in that song? And
1000%. You never want to come across too preachy, right? Because then people are like, the music's all political and it's about it, you're being preachy. But we don't do that, and I don't do that. I think when people first heard Excuse Me, when we first come out, they're like, oh, it's a political song. And, you know, the first instance they hear rap and metal together, and they go, Rage Against the Machine. You know, and immediately your mind goes, okay, well, he has something to say, and this is what he's saying. And if I agree with it, I'm going to like it. If I don't, well, I'll give it a pass. But it's more of a social aspect. You know, our music isn't just about politics. It isn't just about human rights. It's more so about peace, unity, and the pursuit of your own self-determination.
Yeah. American Sun came out, what, 3 years ago now?
2019, November 2019 was when American Sun come out.
Yeah. So about 4 weeks ago, you released SOS. So this is what, a new start, a new album.
Yeah, the new record is slated to come out later in the fall, but 2022. But SOS was kind of starting where we left off with American Sun. We feel, I personally, and I know a lot of the people associated with our band, feel that we missed out on what could have been a fantastic record cycle for us. You know, to be a little bit more plain, I feel like we got robbed, and the rest of the world did. You know, we fell into that category of releasing a record during COVID, and so many bands suffered that fate. And American Sun was such a good record. I mean, it was our second full length. The first record, Narrative, had a re-release, so that kind of technically counted as a second record, where American Sun would have fallen into the third. So your third record is really that time when people start to realize who you are, where the world starts to wake up. And we were having that. That song Right Now did so well for us in such a short span of time. It really plugged us into the vein and the pulse of what was going to happen in rock music going forward. And then boom, COVID. But so SOS was kind of an extension of that. It was a song that we wrote during COVID. It wasn't something that was held over from American Sun. It was new, but it still had that sound and still came with the freshness of new music. So we expect that this record is going to do exactly what American Sun would have done for us and what American Sun was intended to do. And, you know, this tour actually was kind of a goodbye to American Sun. That was basically the last time that we were really going to tour in a full set of music that included everything that we could fit into our time from American Sun. And now it's time for the new to come in, and SOS is kind of that introduction to that.
Brilliant. So you're looking at September, October release for this new album. Are we expecting a couple more singles prior to that release?
Very much so. We're working on a few. We've got some really good pertinent songs to the record, some that really describe what the record's about. I don't want to get into the name because the next single is actually the title, the title track. But it's a bit of the old Fire from the Gods mixed with some of the news, mixed with some of how we've evolved as a band and how we've matured as people. And I'm really hoping that that comes across through the music. And I think it will. I think this record's going to be a bit more accessible. You know, some people go, oh, the band's changed, they've done this, they're not as heavy as they used to be, and that the heaviness hasn't gone anywhere. It's very much, we just made it a more what we believe to be accessible record.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't evolve, or if you don't keep walking forwards and changing with your surroundings, I mean, you can just stagnate and just return the same music over and over again.
Very much so.
Yeah.
You know, I firmly believe a business that isn't growing is a business that's dying. And, you know, we're in the business of making music and trying to make good rock music, which is hard in itself. But, you know, we don't want to just, you know, not to be cliche and quote myself, we don't want to just lay down and die.
Okay, fair enough. Touring. So obviously you've just done a bit of European shenanigans.
Yeah.
What have you got planned?
We've got a massive tour here in the States, actually, again, with The Who, Megadeth, and Five Finger Death Punch. So I think that's probably going to be our biggest tour to date. I mean, we did a really big run with Korn, Stain, and ourselves just before the new year of 2022. We did a nice little run with those guys last fall, but I think this is going to be the biggest one today. I mean, Megadeth's probably the biggest band we've ever played with, and it doesn't get much bigger and more iconic than that. We already did a few dates in Europe, and we already saw what that could look like. We opened up for Five Finger and Megadeth on a few dates in Europe already. Rotterdam we also did 2 dates in Germany, so that was a bit of a taste of what that's going to look like. And we're doing a full 2 to 3 month run here in the States, and The Who are going to be added as well, so we're expecting that to be massive. And the record's going to come out just after that, so we're just hoping that our numbers tick up and everyone starts to really realize that we're back, and you know, the world's back to normal, and Fire from the Gods is a staple, and we're going to be a part of that. I know that there's some talks of coming back to Europe early 2023. We've got a few American festivals that we're going to do here in a few weeks, so there's plenty of things coming up for us to get out there and continue to spread this message and to continue to show the world that we're not fucking about.
Brilliant. On that note, AJ, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Dave, man, thank you very much, man. Hope to see you when we're back over, man.
Oh, you will do.
All right, pal. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.